Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back with another Raising Kanan Season 4 Theory and Prediction video. And this one is coming straight to you after my first viewing of Episode 4. Okay, after watching this episode all the way to the end, off my first watch of it, I want to explain to you guys exactly why Jukebox became a cop. This is less of a theory now and more of a, it's blatantly obvious if you could pay attention to details, what you see, what you have seen, because this is going to be all encompassing, okay? I'm going to explain exactly why Jukebox decided to become a cop. Now, this theory is going to be all encompassing. It's going to have something to do with her family, of course. But deeper than that, on a psychological level, I'm going to explain why Jukebox decided the perfect job for her is to become a cop. And it is because she is a psychopath and an adrenaline junkie, okay? And I'm going to base this off of her personality after we seen her catch her first kill, what we seen, how it happened, and we're going to compare it to Kanan and Kanan's 2 important kills and how they're different as people and why ultimately it made perfect sense for Jukebox to become a cop. This video is going to be incredible. More than a banger. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new here. Without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so first off, how we break it down like this is we got to speak about my prediction that I had for Jukebox catching her first kill, and we're going to explain how the scene went down and why we can already tell off this first kill that Jukebox is a psychopath. She has psychopathic tendencies, and we've seen the signs of it, and we understand where it comes from, right? Okay, so we've seen how it happened. I predicted ultimately that not only Marvin would take a charge for Jukebox after her first kill, but that Jukebox would catch a charge, or the police would try to get her for a murder that Marvin would be taking. I predicted that it was going to be a situation where Jukebox would be with the girl, and the girl's father would come, she would get beat up like that. But instead, she did get harmed by a man connected to the girl, but it was the woman's husband who the narrators, the writers, they made it so it's a very large man and a very strong man. An example we seen of that was how he was able to hurt Jukebox by just pushing her with his one arm one time. For Jukebox to have that kind of injury, they wanted us to know that, okay, this man is extremely dangerous and extremely formidable, right? So I was probably 80%, no lower than 50% right with that prediction. But now, we seen how it happened, and you all seen the end like I did. Did Jukebox have a little smirk on her face? Watch her face when she's looking back and making sure no one's tailing them, making sure the cops are not tailing them. What do we see? We see why it was worth waiting 4 seasons. The writers are showing us that Jukebox will have psychopathic tendencies. And she's an adrenaline junkie. And we can confirm that she's an adrenaline junkie because when she's in the car, she had that little smirk. And also, I'm somebody who, I went to prison for robbery, right? I have a felony for robbery right now. There was always a rush that came from stealing and being in front of people's faces, doing quote unquote gangster shit, right? But in all the reality, most people who rob are haters. I'm just gonna keep it real. But anyways, there's an adrenaline that comes from that. That's why when we see in OG Power, we see Jukebox as a cop still robbing people, doing jewelry heists and things like that. It's because she's an adrenaline junkie. And this further goes into why she became a cop. Now, in order to understand why she became a cop as well, right, we also got to understand further of why she developed psychopathic tendencies and why it took 4 seasons, but it makes sense why she's at the point that she is. When you compare her kill with Kanan. Now, Kanan was very young. He was 15 when he did the D-Wiz thing. And then he was more sure of himself when he did the Ronnie thing. But his face, when he caught the first kill, was scared right after. And then his face when he killed Ronnie was, I had to take care of business. But Jukebox was like, not I had to take care of business, not I'm shook. It was, I just had fun doing this. Because she's a psychopath, right? Always remember, Nate Almighty said Jukebox would catch her first body saving Marvin's life. I said it, and it happened. Now, as far as the girl in this situation, right, because we know she's going to be questioned, but she wasn't there. Garcia is going to question her and end up questioning Jukebox as well, and Marvin is going to come into the picture after that. But be looking out for this girl to be thanking Jukebox for killing her husband, okay? Maybe they'll start dating, maybe not. Jukebox is never going to confirm that she's responsible for the man's death or whatever, but we can see a situation where that woman will have the opportunity, right, to bring Jukebox down, and she won't, right? But Garcia is definitely going to question Jukebox about that and question Marvin, and as things are happening, they're going to try to come for Jukebox, and if they come for Jukebox, we know Marvin is going to do what he's going to do, okay? Now, next episode, Marvin will give Jukebox a gun in episode 5, telling her that she's already in the game now and she needs to protect herself. And it's going to end up being beneficial for her to have that gun, right? But listen, Marvin could still end up getting arrested for the murder and case being dropped somehow in season 5, removing Marvin from the story for a while, with Jukebox having to figure it out on her own without having to rely on Rock. Now, Marvin could remain in prison or jail until season 5, like I said, and the Italians, be looking out. They will score a victory before it's all said and done. They have not had any major victories yet, but we know it's going to go bad with the Marvin and the early Tyler thing, and I'm going to make a separate video about that, right? Either way, Marvin's going to be gone, and Jukebox is going to end this season on a very lower note than it was last season, okay? So Marvin's going to be gone, and Rock, she'll either go on a run, she'll die, or become an informant, or she will be seriously contemplating this at the end of the season after Unique also scores a very big victory, right? All she will have left is Kanan, and now we're talking about Jukebox again. Right? All she will have left is Kanan and will be jealous of his relationship with Ghost and Tommy going into Power Origin, because we've definitely only seen a glimpse of the psychopathic tendencies and the adrenaline junkiness of Jukebox, okay? 2 years after Kanan is locked up, right? That's when Jukebox goes to DC. Maybe the seeds of DC are being sown now with Tremont and Marvin and them. Maybe, right? 2 years after Kanan is locked up, though, right? She'll be alone and angry, right? And she will still have no criminal record. But the only thing is, she won't be able to find work or anything because of the big stigma of the Thomas family name that won't be connected to Kanan, but will be connected to Laverne, aka Jukebox. And that's partly why she decides to go to DC in the first place, because she may be considered being a cop in New York first, right? But she's gonna change her name to avoid the stigma with the Thomas family before she moves to DC, right? She'll become an officer of the law and choose to be who she always wanted to be. And she will see that being a cop will allow her to be as free as she would ever dream to be. An openly gay woman and still deserving of respect because she's an officer of the law. Check. A person who is free to kill as she pleases as long as she don't slip up and get herself in trouble. Check, right? And she would be remaining above the law at all times, right? And she gets to do her favorite thing that gives her the most adrenaline. Robbing people, jewelry heists, things of that nature, man. We seen Jukebox leave New York and live a happier life in DC, becoming the person that she always wanted to be based off of her extreme psychotic tendencies, right? Her love for murder and her love for robberies, right? Because she's a psychopath and an adrenaline junkie. and she gets a rush from shooting and killing. Right? It's not about the money with Jukebox. That's why she never sold drugs. It's not about the money. Jukebox is somebody who never really cared to be rich. She never cared to be rich. She's never that type of person. We have just seen the beginning of something incredible. Something incredible, okay? But y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's God get that. That's punch by ink. That's Uncle Dome, nigga.